All right. Let's get into John chapter 7, Fountain of Life. Uh, is this Bethsaida? Okay, Jesus goes to the festival of tabernacles. After this, after feeding the 5,000, Jesus went around in Galilee. He did not want to go about in Judea because the Jewish leaders were looking for a way to kill him. Jews, why do you always want to kill the wrong people? Man. It's one of the funniest things, like sad, reading through this book, but it's very hard to pick a time where the Jews were actually right. The prophets, the leaders, the people trying to guide them were bang on. And then they themselves were like atrociously wrong and atrociously bad. It's mental. But anyway, chosen people. But when the Jewish festival of Tabernacles was near, Jesus' brother said to him, leave Galilee and go to Judea, so that your disciples there may see the works you do. No one wants to become a public figure, acts in secret. Since you're doing these things now, show yourself to the world. For even his own brothers did not believe him. Who said that? Jesus' brothers said to. So this must be the disciples, I assume. Therefore, Jesus told them, my time is not yet here. For you, any time will do. The world cannot hate you, but it hates me because I testify that its works are evil. You go to the festival. I am not going up to this festival because my time has not yet fully come. After he had said this, he stayed in Galilee. However, after his brothers had left for the festival, he went also, not publicly, but in secret. Now at the festival, the Jewish leaders were watching for Jesus and asking, where is he? Among the crowds, there was widespread whispering about him. Some said, he is a good man. Others replied, no, he deceives people. But no one would say anything publicly about him for fear of the leaders. Jesus teaches at the festival. Not until halfway through the festival did Jesus go up to the temple courts and begin to teach. The Jews there were amazed and asked, how did this man get such learning without having been taught? Jesus answered, my teaching is not my own. It comes from the one who sent me. Anyone who chooses to do the will of God will find out whether my teaching comes from God or whether I speak on my own. Whoever speaks of their own does so to gain personal glory, but he who seeks the glory of the one who sent him is a man of truth. There is nothing false about him. Has not Moses given you the law? Yet not one of you keeps the law. Why are you trying to kill me? You are demon-possessed, the crowd answered. Who is trying to kill you? Jesus said to them, I did one miracle and you're all amazed. Yet because Moses gave you circumcision, though actually it did not come from Moses, but from the patriarchs, you circumcise a boy on the Sabbath. Now, if a boy can be circumcised on the Sabbath so that the law of Moses may not be broken, why are you angry with me for healing a man's whole body on the Sabbath? Stop judging by mere appearances, but instead judge correctly. I agree with this. I mean, I don't get the Sabbath thing personally. I think taking time to rest and honor God is great. But I feel like he's basically saying if you're doing stuff to further yourself, like survival stuff, it even says that about the Sabbath in the Old Testament. If you're doing things to further the works of God on the Sabbath, no dramas, bro. And it's funny, I didn't actually know he showed on circumcision here, but interesting to read that in the Gospel. Division over who Jesus is. At that point, some of the people of Jerusalem began to ask, is this the man they are trying to kill? Here he is, speaking publicly, and they are not saying a word to him. Have the authorities really concluded that he is the Messiah? So funny how they're always looking for these people in positions of power and the people that rise to those positions. It's like that's one of the quotes out of Star Wars that I really love. all people who gain power are afraid to lose it. And I don't think power corrupts everyone, but it's enough of a percentage to basically be considered everyone. And these are the people in power, and they're meant to be in control of deciding who's the one that's going to come and leave them with zero power, so that they can then be servants rather than leaders. It's an interesting dynamic. My dog's getting so much bigger. Then Jesus, still teaching in the temple courts, cried out, "Yes, you know me, and you know where I am from. I am not here on my own authority, but he who sent me is true. You do not know him, but I know him because I am from him, and he sent me." At this they tried to seize him, but no one laid a hand on him, because his hour had not yet come. Still many in the crowd believed in him. They said, "When the Messiah comes, will he perform more signs than this man?" The Pharisees heard the crowd whispering such things about him. Then the chief priests and the Pharisees sent temple guards to arrest him. Jesus said, "I'm with you for only a short time, and then I'm going to the one who sent me. You will look for me, but you will not find me. Where I am, you cannot come." The Jews said to one another, "Where does this man intend to go that we cannot find him? Will he go where our people live scattered among the Greeks and teach the Greeks? What did he mean when he said, 'You will look for me, but you will not find me'? And where I am, you cannot come." On the last and greatest day of the festival, Jesus stood and said in a loud voice, "Let anyone who is thirsty come to me and drink. Whoever believes in me, as Scripture has said, rivers of living water will flow from within them." By this he meant the Spirit, whom those who believed in him were later to receive. Up to that time, the Spirit had not been given, since Jesus had not yet been glorified. On hearing his words, some of the people said, "Surely this man is the prophet." Others said, "He is the Messiah." Still others asked, "How can the Messiah come from Galilee? Does not Scripture say that the Messiah will come from David's descendants and from Bethlehem, the town where David lived?" Thus the people were divided because of Jesus. Some wanted to seize him, but he was born in Bethlehem. Some wanted to seize him, which in Spanish, I didn't realize this, Belen. So you see a lot of people in this part of the world, anyways, where I am, called Belen. I didn't know Belen in Spanish was Bethlehem. There you go. Spanish trivia for you. Some wanted to seize him, but no one laid a hand on him. Unbelief of the Jewish leaders. Shocker. Finally, the temple guards went back to the chief priests and Pharisees, who asked them, "Why didn't you bring him in?" "No one ever spoke the way this man does," the guards replied. "You mean he has deceived you also?" Come on, guys. The Pharisees retorted, "Have any of the rulers or of the Pharisees believed in him? No, but this mob that knows nothing of the law, there is a curse on them." Nicodemus, who had gone to Jesus earlier and who was one of their own number, asked, "Does our law condemn a man without first hearing him to find out what he has been doing?" They replied, "Are you from Galilee too? Look into it, and you'll find that a prophet does not come out of Galilee." The earliest manuscripts and many other ancient manuscripts do not have John 7:53, 8, 11. A few manuscripts include these verses wholly or in part. I don't really know what that refers to. Then they all went home. But Jesus went to the Mount of Olives. This must be the extra. Okay, well, let's read this now because apparently it's part of it. At dawn, he appeared again in the temple courts where all the people gathered around him, and he sat down to teach them. The teachers of the law and the Pharisees brought in a woman caught in adultery. They made her stand before the group and said to Jesus, this is actually really important. Stone. Yeah. No, I got to read this on the next one because that's like a really important story. Anyway, let's have a look at the questions that come from that. Two reasons why Jesus didn't want to go to Galilee and Judea, because they wanted to kill him. The leaders wanted to kill him. What did the people getting close to Jesus think? Some thought he was a prophet, some thought he was Messiah, some thought he was possessed. I don't. Like, we read it. We know it's there. I don't think that's important. Where's the other book? Because these are like the reflective questions. I sort of like these. I think these are good. Yeah, okay. What are the fundamental elements for life of a human to identify ourselves with Christ? We have to believe that he's the Savior, died, was risen. Fundamental elements, I don't know if they're talking about water elements, probably the baptism thing. They're pretty obsessed with the water baptism, but I don't know, man. I struggle to buy that because you know on the cross that the guy next to him was with him in paradise, never been baptized, never had the water, like none of it. So I don't know. It's very hard to look at that and buy into the baptism the level that the evangelicals do. But anyways, I don't know if that's what they're referring to there. Why do you think the world abhorred Christ? I don't think the entire world did, but I think a very vocal portion of them did. And I think we see similar things happening today with leaders that are doing good things, sometimes bad things, but the people who complain and hate are always the loudest. Whether they're minority, even really small minority, they're the ones that you sort of notice. So I think most people, if they see or hear about a guy that makes a bloke that's been paralyzed for like 37 years, or he's in like basically his entire life, stand up, pick up his mat and go, they're not going to want to kill him because he did it on a Sabbath. I just don't think that's a natural human reaction. I think the natural reaction is amazement and wonder and thinking, wow. What I can see, though, is the threat to power, and I think how people respond to that is probably more accurate, and that might have been, and these people just happen to be ones that could make such decisions. So, yeah, I don't think assuming that a large portion of people hated him is necessarily true. Yeah, I think most probably didn't even know who he was. Maybe have heard of him, but didn't like know or see or understand, and thought, oh yeah, that sounds cool. Maybe questioned it, but at this point anyway. Who's the fountain of all authority? God the Father. How's the work of Christ in man like the fountain of living water? That's the Spirit. How does Jesus manifest himself in your life like the light of the world? I think, and this is an interesting thing for me, and I'm still sort of trying to think through this and work through it. I think he does if you allow it, and this is where free will is crazy powerful. And it's sort of why I think people go through the same lessons over and over and over. And I think, well, we'll see what happens with this girl now. But one of my lessons, I was very stuck on dating really young girls. But I kept on having retarded problems with them. Just reasons for breaking up were just so stupid, even if things seemed really good, but crazy immature, crazy dumb. And maybe that was a lesson I wasn't picking. I only really just saw this time that it may have actually been a pattern. But anyway, shh. Oi, down please, down. Dog on the window. I think if you accept God, listen, and one of the most powerful things, and I got this from Tony Robbins, and he says this before he goes on stage every time. He's like, use me. I'm open to your will. Use me how you can to serve these people. And I think if you start prayer or practice or meditation, or whatever word you want to ascribe to it, with gratitude for what you have, what's in your life, whatever it is, If you start with that and then open yourself to his will to do whatever the hell he wants with you and to show you what he actually wants to do with you, I think that's where you really get to experience. And that's where the faith is. Like, you have to trust that. And that's scary. Because, like, the fuck am I trusting? Like, I don't get it. But when you do that, you start feeling different things and experience different things and seeing them. Like, even for me, I bought my dog because I had a thought in my head for a while that I'd like a German Shepherd. And then this post comes up in front of me. It's like, we're giving German Shepherds away for free. They're purebred. And I was like, what? And I am not in a situation where I should have taken on a German Shepherd with where I'm living. Like, I want space for that dog. But I'm also very disciplined, so we go for walks, and it's improving sort of my life in that regard as well, giving me more structure because I have to for her. Otherwise, it's horribly unfair to the dog. But I wanted the dog, and I felt like I had a nudge to go and get it, so I did. And even just seeing the dog, the selection of the dog, that was very much like feeling like I was guided towards that. My ex, I feel like I was guided towards her. I still feel like there's a push, but I think the ball's in her court at the moment. I don't think it's in mine. And that's okay. I'm patient and waiting for that. Yeah, I don't know. I just think generally my interactions with people in my life is pretty amazing. And I can't look at what's happened in my life and say that there is no, it's just pure chance. I think that is the stupid response. I cannot look at what has happened and say it's pure chance. I sure as shit can't look at everything that's happened and say it's 100% because of me. No way. My actions, my decisions, my choices, yeah. But that is such a small piece of the puzzle when you look at all the moving parts that happen. And then the lessons that come from different things. If you choose to take that lesson, if you choose to ask for guidance and be like, okay, cool, I'm open. What are you trying to show me? What are you trying to teach me? Yeah, and I'd look at COVID, I'd look at the kids' business, I'd look at that I've had, I'd look at even this business that I've got now. They're all things that, like, I know I'm doing it, but I also feel like I'm a spectator. And it's cool watching it unfold. I don't know if this makes sense. I don't even know if that answers the question, but I think starting with gratitude, being open to let him show you what his will is and doing your absolute best to follow that. Two major things. When you obey the word, what benefits do you get in exchange? Enormous levels of understanding and growth. I think you feel quite safe, which is not, I don't think I've ever really had a problem with that, but it's a different safety. It's like, he's got me. It's just an understanding of it, even when I don't know how long it takes to get to this point. I don't even know if I'm there. Like, I'll probably get hit with harder shit later on. But it sort of seems it doesn't matter how bad something gets now. I truly believe there's a lesson in it, and I'm looking for it in the middle of the shit. And I would say that with my ex right now, like, we've broken up, and I was so sure that, like, God was leading me towards this girl, and I was asking for signs, and she was just been put in front of me, and then her actions and changes and adjustments and tweaks at these times. And it was amazing as a relationship, like probably about 95% of exactly what I would really, maybe 90%. And the other things were super simple and completely fine because she was young and needed to grow. She needed to be willing to grow. And that would be the same thing. I think if you're open to accepting God, you need to be willing and open. That's free will, right? And if you're not, then you're just not going to experience it. So I don't know what's going to happen there, but whatever comes of it, I don't know. I've just done so. Every time I trust, it just works out really well. It just works out really well. It can suck it during, and it can feel like a long time. I'm gonna have to go. My dog's crying about something. I'm assuming she's still alive. Hope so. Shadow. All right, I'm gonna go. But yeah, have a think about those. See how you go, and we'll get to John 8 on the next.